Time for freshly pressed on the smooth breakfast here on Smooth 98.1. Bit of music, love, live station. It is 32 minutes past 7 a.m. Hump of the week Wednesday. We are here once again to take a look at the major talking points in the papers, get analysis as well, just to give us a better understanding of what is going on. And we'll get your own perspectives as well. So it's interactive. We talk to you, you talk to us as well. So join us on WhatsApp, join us on YouTube as well. My name is Ayokunmi. Great to have you with us this morning. The WhatsApp number is 0911 999 0981. That's 0911 999 0981. Send your messages as brief and as concise as possible. And just make it easy for me to get through the messages. Thank you very much. In terms of the content, I mean, also join us on YouTube at Smooth 981 FM Lagos, Smooth 981 FM Lagos. If an audiovisual is your thing, that definitely is where you need to be. All right, joining me to take a look at the stories this morning and, of course, analyze it all, break it all down. Devoe, Okorie, and, of course, Lakunle Yusuf are joining me on one hand. Lakunle, good morning to you.
Good morning, everybody, everywhere in the world where you're listening to us this morning. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, our unionist, the trade one. Good morning, Devoe. It's Wednesday, the hump of the week, as they say, and we're back to the talking table again since 2009.
Back to the talking table. Devoe, good morning to you.
Good morning, world. Good morning, Lagos. Smooth AY, Lakunle, the trade unionist. New day, new week. A cool class captain, Trump.
And of course, Mr. C is also joining us to, chip in some thoughts on what we're talking about this morning. Mr. C, good morning to you.
Good morning, Naya. Good morning, Devoe. Good morning.
Alrighty, let's begin our sojourn this morning into the papers. We will be starting in the Vanguard. Devoe, I'm bringing this to your doorstep, where President Bola Tinubu has expressed confidence that Nigeria will emerge stronger amid recent threats from U.S. President Donald Trump, assuring that the matter is being handled with seriousness and with depth. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, stated the president's position on Tuesday following a routine meeting with the Nigerian leader at the presidential villa in Abuja. Devoe, what does it mean? The matter is being handled with seriousness and with depth.
For the lack of more constructive beginning, I would say this is chaw, chaw, chaw. So for those who don't understand colloquial expressions, I'm very disappointed that this is the response coming from the federal government, given the threat to our sovereignty that came last week when another country in the likes of America and its president issued a threat, actually was a threat, that if we didn't handle our own insecurity against Christians, he would come into our country, guns blazing, to deal with the matter. And ever since then, for the first time, I'm seeing, you see this sense of urgency that we've not seen in our own government. We started seeing pandemonium. Okay. Now, this is not to talk of the fact that we were trying to get over the rumor or the alleged rumor of a coup, which we saw the change in ranks in our security architecture. Now, since that time, we've also realized that we don't have ambassadors. We don't have the what you call the external forts who are supposed to act as foreign policy ambassadors, legs of the government to ensure that countries who have interest in Nigeria, we're doing trade by barter. That is what foreign policy is all about. Okay. No one operates in isolation. No one lives in isolation. What you don't have, you give what you have to collect what you don't have. It's like the biggest F9 ever for a nation to show that you're completely exposed. And we've made it so much about Donald Trump to the extent that just go on social media, you will see how Nigerians literally have turned Donald Trump, the American president, into class captain. Look at text, letters, tweets, messages, post upon post of Nigerians reporting themselves to their class captain, Donald Trump, as if he's your president. So it's not just a failure on government, it's a failure on the people. If you truly don't believe your government is working for you, put pressure on them, change them, do whatever you have to. This pressure that we've mounted on Donald Trump, why didn't we do that to our own president? Now, the point here is this, right? President is saying that we will come out of this insecurity much stronger. Excuse me. The pass mark for coming out of this is not English, it's not speeches. It is we want to see justice for people who have slaughtered Nigerians, okay, unjustifiably. We want to see some people booked. We want to see some people arrested. We want to see some people killed. Because the point about this is that it was given a name that Christians were, there was a genocide taking place in Christians. So if we truly are trying to restructure the narrative into no, it's both Christians and Muslims that are being killed, which is a judgment on its own, that you're actually acknowledging that somebody is slaughtering your own people, okay? Then the only way out is for you to not, it's too simple to say put a stop to it. We're supposed to now round up some people. There should be some heads rolling as proof that, yes, the federal government has acted on it. I've handled it. It's like you not taking care of your wife and someone begins to buy clothes, buy a car, and make life comfortable for your family. At some point, even by law, that person will be entitled to take away your wife and children. What are we doing, Nigeria? What on earth are we doing? We're here reporting ourselves to Donald Trump as if he's our class captain. We're shedding away our own sovereignty. Nigeria is ours. And we must understand that the people in government don't have two heads. They don't have two heads.
Right.
So my charge to Nigerians is that, look, if Nigeria is going to get better, we clearly know that all politics is local, all insecurity is local. All the information that came out on the social media pointing to the fact that our own politicians have been behind, what do you call it? Been behind the insecurity. Then let's deal with it. Let's stop acting like spineless human beings and hailing them and making them feel like gods when they are part of the same people who have been at the root of our insecurity. That's the truth about this situation. It's
Right.
almost clear that Nigerians know where their problems are coming from. What has happened is that instead of pointing the problems directly in the face, what we do is we look for, how do I say it, excuses in the name of religion, ethnicity, land grabbing, etc. and co. Let's call it, remember in the beginning of this insecurity, when people were giving it different colorations, the biggest failure on government was that governments did not treat terrorist actions like terrorist actions. There's a terrorist law in place that ensures quick and accelerated justice, prosecution to people who fall short of such. This is what we want to see. This is the only pass mark for government. We don't want cho-cho-cho. We don't want English. We don't want promises. We want quick execution of those who have violated the lives of Nigerian citizens. End of story. Period.
Okay, so very quickly, in about a minute or 90 seconds, everything America did was clearly.
We can't hear him.
Everything America did was clearly planned months before it dropped the hammer. A study was conducted, and it just shows that the way governance has been carried on before now hasn't been optimal. So now it's almost as if the president is now on the performance improvement plan course, and he has to come out on top. Because if he doesn't, then I can only shudder at the consequences or the implications. So it is now crystal clear that you cannot govern consistently by propaganda and lies. There has to be accountability, there has to be transparency, but above all, there has to be performance. So let us hope that the president understands the statement he made that Nigeria will come out stronger, and that by Nigeria, he's not referring to himself, he's referring to the country, to his institutions, and how the rule of law and order is carried out.
That is very, very important. Thank you for that, Mr. C. All right. Oh, it looks like Lakunle has left the building, maybe due to network issues, perhaps. I'm guessing that he'll be back very, very soon. But while we wait for Lakunle to come back, Devoe, let us continue on another trajectory. I'm going to stick with you right now, at least until Lakunle comes back in. Anyways, let us talk about money. And we're heading to the Premium Times, where President Bola Tinubu has asked the Senate to approve a fresh 1.15 trillion naira loan program as part of the resources to fund Nigeria's 2025 budget. Just a moment here. Now, the request was contained in a letter read by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio during plenary on Tuesday. Now, in the letter, President Tinubu explained that the facility would be sourced from the domestic debt market. Now, he said the borrowing had become necessary due to the increased size of the 2025 budget. Devoe.
Okay, and
I'm
sorry,
back.
just a quick addition to the last one. Might I add, what we see now is the federal government is acting quickly to respond to a foreign party. That is all levels of failure, screaming all levels of failure. The federal government should have been sitting up to respond to Nigerians. Get it clear. Respond to Nigerians, not foreign parties. We don't owe America diddly squats. So if the government is not responding to Nigerians with a sense of urgency, then it's a complete failed state. Now to the story in the Premium Times, I don't want to go through the numbers because the numbers normally confuse Nigerians. The bottom line is the government is borrowing more money. And the point we want to bring out is not to say that it is wrong. It's not never wrong to borrow. I mean, if you look at our GDP to debt ratio, it's actually accommodating. However, where the challenge comes is where does this borrowed money go to? Currently, our debt situation from DMO puts us at 144 trillion naira. That's approximately 150 trillion naira, okay? Splits between domestic and external debts, all right?
Right.
Now,
Right.
the point is, remember, because it's borrowed, first issue is one day, sometime, you're going to have to pay back. So are you creating a productive economy that's raising revenue on all sides, raising revenue not just from taxes, because you can never tax your people to pay back your debts, raising money from productive endeavors, e.g., you can see oil revenue brings in 94% of our FX. How come we've not grown the non-oil sector? All right. How come we have not, you see this foreign policy that we're not doing? How come we've not invited other countries to help us grow our solid minerals sector? How come we haven't built our educational sector to ensure that the billions that leave Nigeria would be retained? How come we've not built our health sector back, okay, so that even foreign countries like they used to be before, the same way we spend north of 400 billion naira going to India, America, and Europe for medical services. So this is where this is where the challenge lies. So all this money that they're borrowing, we should be putting heat on the National Assembly, who is approving, to ensure that this money gets to its destination. Because from this report, what it shows us is that much of this money has gone to operational cost, payment of salaries, payment of recurrent expenditure, which does not grow the economy. The real growth lies in capital expenditure. So at this point in time, this is 2 years plus the administration. If they haven't started discussing infrastructure, started discussing capital expenditure, trust me, come 2027, Nigeria will be in a lot of debt that we can't pay back. And what happens when you're in a lot of debt? You devalue your currency even further. And it becomes tougher for people to buy goods with the little money that they earn.
Right, so that is exactly where we are at the moment. Let's get your thoughts in on WhatsApp on 0911-999-0981. Lakunle, welcome back. I was beginning to wonder what exactly happened. Maybe network issues, but good to see you back in with us.
The union people got to him.
Gremlins. One of them is sitting to your left.
Okay, my hand is not there. Anyways, let's step into the Vanguard, Lakunle, and talk about education. Of course, we talk about education education, health, these issues almost always in the news cycle. Anyways, the federal government on Tuesday said it has literally met the demands of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and claimed that the last strike embarked on by the union was unjustified. Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, who disclosed this to State House correspondents after meeting behind closed doors with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja, stated that his visit to the president was to explain where the ministry was with the ASU strike and to extract more concessions from him. Lakunle, I mean, to a degree, I understand the English language to a degree, but when one says that they've literally met the demands of ASU, doesn't that mean that we've basically dealt with everything on the agenda? Doesn't it make sense to actually say, oh, they demanded X, Y, Z, we've done X, we've done Y. We don't know what they've done specifically.
Okay, so just before we came on the show, right, we had a mini conference, a mini debate on this. And okay, so like I always say to people, I know people who's listened to me on this show for about 5 years now will know that I'm not an ASU fan and I don't believe in strikes. But then when you flip the coin a little bit to the other side, you begin to query that conviction, right? Okay, so we're talking about an agreement that the government signed since 2009. 2009, a child born in 2009 is 16 years old today, so and old enough to enter university. So an agreement that was made the day the child was born. The child is now going to suffer the consequence of not honoring that agreement today. So just look at the import of that statement. Yes, some people will argue it was not this government, it was that government. But you see, government is a continuum. What you meet on the table is what you inherit and what you act on. And also for perspective, our president, on swearing in, they said, do not pity me. I begged for this job. I campaigned for this job. I worked for this. Do not pity me. So it is unbelievable that the minister would say literally, like you said, literally means that you've practically done everything. There were 19 items on that 2009 agreement. How many of those 19, 50% or 100%? Which ones are outstanding? What are the reasons for it being outstanding? These are the kind of things that begin to make us have confidence in this kind of statements. Funny thing, I liked.
Are you there, Lakunle? Oh dear. Network issues, perhaps? I can see him, but I can't hear him. We can't hear him right now. Luckily, if you can hear us, please let me know because we cannot hear you at the moment. I guess while Luckily try to sort that one out, Mr. C, do you want to just
So let me
wait on
quickly
this one?
jump in and try to follow Lakule's thoughts. So
I can't hear him.
can you hear me now? Hello?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes.
Okay, so the Minister for Education went to brief the president, and he informed State House correspondents later on that they had literally met all of ASU's demands. But in the same story, he says they went to get more money to meet the demands. So is he then suggesting that the two things are true, or that the first part of the story is just a political statement, and the real reason he went there is we now need money to take it over the finishing line? So maybe if I want to understand the minister well and give him the benefit of the doubt, that from a technical point or from the point of an agreement, in principle, it's literally been done. That the execution part, which is the money, is why he couldn't say it has been done. That it's literally that they're in agreement. What is now needed to settle it is the release of money. Okay.
All right. So sorry, the gremlins are actually working hard at this today. Like I said, I like the minister. Yeah, he's made some pronouncements
I don't like him
in many ways, right? And when that had been pushed back, he'd gone back to look at it, and he's allowed reasoning to lead those decisions. So, in at least one thing now in this report also has highlighted for us is that before now we had a committee talking to the College of Education We had another committee talking to the polytechnics. We had another one talking to the universities. Now we have a unified one, so that none of the ASU chapters is sitting down to say, hey, they've given those ones more money than they give me. Let me go on strike. So the negotiation is going to be central now. And please, let us stop singing praises when it is not necessary. We know the
But
president is
you
working
did
hard.
now.
We know that all those things are happening. We already know all those things. Just focus on the questions that your ministry needs to answer. Why have they not? Why are ASU still going on strike? Why have we not solved the problem since 16 years ago? Simple questions. Those are the answers that we expect. Not to talk about harmonization of dollar, refinery, one thing. No, those ones have nothing to do with education. Please, let's just focus. That's my advice to the minister going forward. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
let me quickly add.
I'm going to
This
throw this
minister,
in. Okay.
sorry, can I add a quick note? This minister more or less has lied. You haven't met anything. You don't worry, they will debunk this article before the week runs out. First of
Devoe,
all, he gave them
let's
about
give him
55.
benefit of the doubt. Let him
He,
just say it
we're
is
not
for
giving
him
him
to
any
just say
benefits
what he has
because
done.
he cannot keep playing with the minds and the lives of Nigerian citizens, especially where tertiary education is concerned. He gave them about 50 billion extra out of the 200 billion that they asked for emergency quick issues. So this is totaling 100 billion that they have gotten from the federal government. And
Let
even in
us
the last 50
appreciate that at least they have given.
even in the last 50 billion that they gave them, it didn't go straight to ASU. It was split between them and the polytechnics. Secondly, they've requested for 2 trillion to be able to deal with tertiary education around the country. That's when you start discussing we have met their needs. But the point is, the federal government doesn't have this money. You don't have to fool us about it. You've seen in the other articles that they're still borrowing to address recurrent issues. So I'm asking the Ministry of Education to start discussing sustainable solutions. If it requires you liberalizing the education, the tertiary educational sector, meaning bringing in private sector ownership, either partially or wholly. That is when you begin to make a change. These carrots that they're dangling is a mockery to the academia in this nation. End of
You,
story.
you know, one of the things that I've always advocated is like happens in a lot of other places. If we're able to make universal basic education as we propounded it into law work, meaning your first 9 years or first 12 years of education is free, whatever education you are taking at that time, from the day you were born till you're probably 18, then it avails every parent or every child, knowing that from the day you were born in 18 years' time, I will start paying tuition for your tertiary education. If we're able to do that, if we're able to focus and make those basic years the free one, so that every parent can save towards the tertiary education, and then when we go to university, we can pay, and then there can be accountability. That's a way. Then on the other side as well, ASU is asking for all this money, like I always say. The one that you have been given, have you accounted for it transparently? Have we seen the effect of the ones, no matter how little it is, in this country today, whose internal auditor went blind since 2012? So they have not done an audit of the university since then to date. So even me, as I say that I am pro-government, I have an argument against that university to say, look, you have not given me how you spend the money I've given you before, and you're asking me for more. So while we blame government, we must also highlight the other bit of it where ASU and the university administration also fails in doing their own due diligence and making their case to argue for anything to be very transparent. The transparency is opaque from both sides. It just has degrees.
It just has degrees. Let me take a few messages. I'll come back to you, Lakunle. This is from Tony Inisola, who says, good morning, all. According to the DMO, Nigeria's public debt stood at 152.4 trillion naira as of June 30th, 2025. With almost 50 ministers, countless number of special advisors, and media aides, there's no doubt that this government will surpass its predecessor in terms of debt accumulation. And this is from, let's see who said this message. This is from Amaka George in Lagos. Amaka says, good morning, Smooth, and your invited guest and friends. He's not invited. He's one of the fabric of Smooth family. She says, honestly, Devoe spoke well, but deviated when he called Trump class rep or class captain, insisting that Nigerians, after his tweets, turned to him with letters, chats, mails, reporting to him the happenings as if he's the Nigerian president. Why not Nigerians direct those mails and all to their president? And I ask, which of the Nigerian president? As far as I know, we have only one president. The one that told us that he has turned deaf ears and stayed away from social media against our clouds and trolls. That's that he's here for high blood pressure from Nigerians. So which of the presidents are we to turn to? I ask again. Once again, only one president that I know. Honestly, if our help will come from outside, it's still not a bad thing. Thanks.
It is a bad thing, though. A very bad thing.
This is Stan. Stan says it's obvious subsidy was removed because of this whole selfish borrowing plans. Imagine surpassing your predecessor within the space of a few years. What is even the duty of the Senate, if not to checkmate this whole borrowing demand by the president? Rubber stamp bunch of individuals. All right.
I just have a question. 30 seconds. Where are the gains from the subsidy removal? Because we were promised that there would be gains from the removal of the subsidy of petrol, and those gains would be applied to various sectors of the economy. So, one, how much have we saved? How much has been applied? That's all.
And that's a good question because
Can I respond quickly?
I think that the word saved that was used from the beginning was a wrong word to have been used to clarify the gain of removal of subsidy. So we're not literally saving money in the bank. You're already in a hole. What it meant was that the hole is not dig. We are not digging the hole anymore, and then we'll gradually start to fill it up to come back to the surface. So we're actually not digging any hole.
But now that was the 24 trillion that was being used for subsidy on a yearly basis. Now, to answer C's question, that money was shared between the federal government and the state government. That's why you keep hearing them say that the governors have more money. So this is where the responsibility lies on citizens to hold their governors accountable. This is not a Tinubu thing anymore. Hold your governors accountable. Go and check their reports, what they earned during Buhari's tenure and what they earned during Tinubu's tenure. That's where the money was shared to. So it's your state governments that should be showing you the dividends of not spending on subsidy. And if they're not, then you should be shouting the same way you're screaming to Donald Trump. You need to be screaming, blocking the roads of your governors to ensure that they show you where this money went to. Period.
Okay, I think that more or less answers the question, and that was actually where we were heading.
I'm not hearing you.
We can't hear you, AY.
I said that more or less answers the question, because that's where I was actually heading to in terms of the talking points here, because the group chief economist and managing director of research and trade intelligence of Afri-Exim Bank, that's Dr. Yemi Kale, he called on the federal government to channel those funds saved from fuel subsidy removal into infrastructure. Well, as we've mentioned now, those funds, there's been a sharing that has gone on. And Devoe, as you mentioned, I guess we're not doing enough to hold the state governors accountable. Yes, there's a responsibility from the side of the federal government, but there's also the state governments that we need to put a huge focus on. I don't think enough has been done in that regard.
Ayo, I think that we are also committing a honest mistake here. Many of us in Nigeria, everything we focus on the federal government. Don't forget this money we're even talking about. 51% of it goes to all the state governments. The federal government is supposed to take care of defense in its own. When you say defense, that means all those Tucano, all those Apache helicopter, everything that we're hearing that we are buying, that money is supposed to come from their 49%. They are what we call federal roads. The reason Ogun State government is in trouble with many people today is that many of the major roads in the state are federal roads. They are the eastern roads, east-west road, they've been constructing it, I think, almost all my life. It's never been finished. There are so many things the federal government has to do with its own money, right? But the 51% that goes to the what's it called? To the state government. Like Dr. Yemi Kale said here, he said federal government. He didn't say federal and state government. And when people with influence like him make this kind of statements, it affects the way the rest of us pick it up and run with it. And that's why all of us are focusing on the federal government, and the state governors and local government chairmen are getting away with blue, green, red, yellow, and white murder every day.
All right, luckily, let me take the messages. A number of them have lined up here. Life in Festac Life. Good morning to you. It's been a minute. Hope you're doing well. He says, please, someone should lead protest hashtag I stand with America. America should not only tell President Tinubu to stop killing, but also give Nigerians power, refineries, hospitals, and to stop politicians from misappropriating funds as well. If China think they have power, let them go and support Putin to win the war against Ukraine, not to deceive Nigeria into trouble with America. All right. Ajay Olonilowa sends a message in. He's a Magodo GRA Sherry. He says, good morning, Ayo, and the fine gentlemen in the house. It's better for government to face the reality of the tragedy facing the country and take the necessary steps to end the murderous activity of these terrorists going on all over the country, instead of looking for excuses to counter the U.S. claim on genocide. Tony Marine Beach says, if you have a friend or business partner who sees all the rot around you and has the capacity to help you out of it, but wouldn't lift a finger, that's an example of a bad friend. China is not a friend in this matter, and their latest statement is clear hypocrisy. It begs to question, what are they gaining from the insecurity? We're a sovereign nation, and some regions practice Sharia law, and from which law book, if I may ask? What is the sovereign about the nation? Maybe if Allah should be practiced in the West and alike in the East to make us more sovereign, in quotes. Can we just stop deceiving ourselves? All right, Tony. Fabian Inekwe says, in common parlance, the term shape up or shape out is used, but in Nigeria, those in the top hierarchy of government always either blame the past leadership or give excuses, yet they are quick to take glory for what a previous government started or did. A continuous lack of accountability, reactive tendencies, and remarkable ineptitude to strikes, insecurity, and poverty have led us to this debacle. Subsidy is gone, yet Nigerians are in penury. When will this end? Questions and questions and more questions. This is Joseph Menu. He's in Silver State in Ejibo here in Lagos. Good morning to you, Joseph. He says, how, as much as it's condemnable for an invasion from America, America is not invading. But just imagine how suddenly a tweet has rattled the presidency, politicians, elite, and supporters of the administration. Suddenly they remember that Nigeria is a sovereign country. A terrorist list from UAE is ignored, but rather grant amnesty negotiation with them, reintegrate them into society and security architecture. Again, we are hearing loans which have been the hallmark of this administration, but according to them, the economy is doing well. So why loans again? Leko in Lagos, good morning, says, what is happening in Nigeria can only happen when rulers are selected and not elected by the people. The only time you see the police and army work, it's when people protest or demand for their rights. That is when you see them doing eye service and hypocrisy for the government. Case study, the NSAS protests, the elections, end bad governance, and so on and so forth. Long one as usual, Lekon, but thank you for the message. And this is Isiaka Inagege, who says, ever since the time of the Ali Must Go, educational school fees hike demonstration in 1977 to the mysterious vice chancellorship of Professor Kwaku at Devoe at Unilag, ASU hasn't been able to be effective and to sanitize its demands. All right, thank you very much for the messages. AB on YouTube says 2 out of 19 items in ASU in the ASU demands, the ASU agreement is a fail by any measure. Miriam, okay, thank you for the updates. I really apologize about that, and we'll see what we can do about this issue. I actually thought it had been sorted out. Apparently not. We'll work on that definitely. Thank you all for the messages. Thank you, Devoe. Thank you, Lakunle. Thank you, Mr. C, for joining me this morning. Lakunle, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ayo, for having me. I hope and pray that our Minister for Education would do the needful, and 16 years will be the end of the time we hear about this matter of negotiating an agreement that's been on the table for everybody to. I mean, it's high time we stopped this back and forth on this matter. And I hope that the minister will not disappoint me personally because of the opinion I think I have of his person and his role he's played in education sector so far. Have a great week, everyone.
All right, thank you. Devoe.
All right, hold your government accountable. Donald Trump is not your president.
Mr. C, your final word as we wrap it up.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Ayo. Thank you, Lagos, for listening, and by extension, the world. And let's close out the week in style.
Let's close out the week in style. Yes, indeed. And style is something that we are used to here at Smooth 98.1. 8:15, we'll walk into the world of sports and the locker room. So much to talk about, so much to get into. My name is Ayokunmi. Thank you.